Today.
Well, good morning and welcome to News Channel 8 Today. I'm Gail Guayardo.
I'm Rod Carter. Glad you could join us this morning. It's Tuesday, December 11th. In the headlines this Tuesday morning, Dee Dee Moore will spend the rest of her life behind bars. A jury found her guilty of killing Florida lottery winner Abraham Shakespeare in 2009. And coming up, you're going to hear what the judge had to say to her after the jury's verdict.
A hearing is set this morning in the George Zimmerman trial. He's the former Community Watch captain accused of murdering 17-year-old Trayvon Martin in Sanford earlier this year. Zimmerman claims he shot the teen in self-defense.
Take a look at this video of an ominous tornado that rolled through Edgewater in Volusia County. The twister destroyed a dozen homes, damaged dozens more. National Weather Service is expected to investigate the tornado today.
A very strong thunderstorm blew through the Bay Area last night. In this video from downtown Tampa, you can see that it's raining, but at some points, water just came down in buckets. In fact, strong winds and pouring rain left many homes without power. And we're going to have more headlines coming your way in just a moment.
First, let's get a look at your forecast. Storm Team 8 meteorologist Megan Hatton is in the forecast center this morning with more rain headed our way in the next couple days.
Yeah, we do have a threat for rain and storms. And in fact, some of the storms we see today and also through Wednesday could be on the strong to severe side. The Storm Prediction Center out of Norman, Oklahoma, placing the entire Bay Area in a slight chance for severe weather for today. 69 degrees to kick off the morning. No real rain on the radar for us, but South Florida certainly is active. Showers and thunderstorms will develop and spread north with the heating of the day. 73 degrees with areas of dense fog by 9 a.m. Isolated rain and thunder at noon. Temperatures warm to the mid-70s, and at 6 p.m. scattered showers and thunderstorms, and again, some of them could be on the strong to severe side. 70 in Tampa, 69 in Sebring, 71 in Frostproof, but we're still seeing those areas of dense fog. In fact, fog and heavier rain could be in the forecast for Tuesday. I'll be back with those forecast details in a few minutes. First, we'll see how the roadways are shaping up with Leslie.
Still got a couple of problems out there. First of all, in the Bradenton area, we still have this accident working, folks. This is actually US 301 right at 1st Street, right in the heart of Bradenton. So you want to keep that in mind. Let's move over and take a quick look here at an earlier problem. It's clear to the shoulder. Let's see if they've got it wrapped up completely yet. Let's pull out the camera, and you can see northbound I-75. Still some activity here. We've still got some emergency vehicles on the right. So a little bit of slowing, but no lanes blocked. Traffic is still getting by. This is northbound I-75 just past Martin Luther King. That's a look at the roadways. Back to Rod and Gail.
All right, Leslie, thank you.
Now to a big story that's happening today in Hillsborough County. It centers around the deaths of two special needs students. 7-year-old Bella Herrera, who lived with muscular dystrophy, died after she stopped breathing on a school bus last January. Then, back in October, 11-year-old Jenny Caballero, who has Down syndrome, wandered away from her school and drowned in a pond. News Channel 8's Adrian Pedersen joins us now live from the school district headquarters with more. And Adrian, I understand later today the school board's going to discuss these policies at length.
Right, Gail, and I printed off about half of them. You can see there's a lot of paperwork to go through. I'll tell you what you need to know about the new policies coming up. But first, all of the work put into these revisions is to prevent another tragedy.
We're done. We are angry. We want legislation that will stop this.
A fed up Karen Clay organized this rally a few weeks ago, saying the district doesn't do enough to help special needs students.
And the more disabled Michael got, the less they wanted to do.
It's been a scary few months for parents of special needs kids. 11-year-old Jenny Caballero, who had Down syndrome, wandered away from Rogers Middle School and drowned in a retention pond. 7-year-old Isabella Herrera died after suffering respiratory distress. Her parents blame district workers. They say the workers improperly positioned her wheelchair on the school bus.
Over the last several years, that the number of medically fragile children in the school district, many of them in traditional schools, has increased dramatically. And I think that in many ways that's a very good thing, because I think that their parents, many of them, want their kids to be included in a regular school setting. That's a difficult balance to strike.
It's balance that parents demand, and school board members say they'll deliver, starting with reviewing current policies.
We have a emergency procedures manual, but in the case of an emergency, as comprehensive as it is, perhaps a simpler checklist would be more helpful.
Okay, so speaking of that checklist, you know, this looks like a lot of paperwork, but really, here's what you need to know from it. Before, for some of these emergency procedures, there would be a handbook that teachers could reference whenever they needed it. But now this booklet talks about having just a simple, maybe 3-step option for teachers. Just go through, follow it step by step. So really, there's almost no room for error when it comes to emergencies. And also, Gail in here talks about teacher training. They want to make sure that all the teachers, all the staff members in the district are on the same page.
Yeah, I know that's a big hot button is the training, because it's easy to sit back and look at video and think what you might have done. But if you don't know what to do, I mean, that's key.
Exactly, and they want to make sure that in a situation, you know, you don't have much time to think. So you need just a 3-step process. This is what you need to do, so that really there's not much room for error.
All right, that makes a lot of sense. Thanks, Adrian. Well, the school board meeting starts at 3 today. The district spokesperson says he's not sure what time they'll decide to talk about the policy changes, but you are welcome to attend.
After 2 weeks of testimony filled with a lot of emotion and, quite frankly, some very odd moments, a Hillsborough County jury found Dee Dee Moore guilty of killing lottery winner Abraham Shakespeare. It took that panel 3 hours to reach the verdict. News Channel 8's Chip Osowski is live this morning at the Hillsborough County Courthouse with more on this. Chip, good morning.
Well, good morning to you, Rod. Dee Dee Moore will spend the rest of her life behind bars. A judge sentenced her to life in prison just moments after a jury found her guilty of first-degree murder. She showed very little emotion as the clerk read the jury's verdict. Prosecutors painted her as a vindictive woman who killed Abraham Shakespeare. He won the lottery in 2006. He met Moore 2 years later. A year after that, he was dead. The trial was filled with antics, with Moore breaking down a number of times. The judge in the case had some stern words for her after the verdict was read.
I will make just a very brief comment, Ms. Moore. After trial, listening to all of this over 2 weeks, words that were said here, cold, calculated, cruel, they all apply. Manipulative, probably the most manipulative person that this court has seen.
Testimony revealed Shakespeare was shot twice in 2009. Investigators discovered his body buried in a deep hole under a concrete slab on Moore's property in Plant City. Shakespeare's family members said after the verdict that they were pleased with this outcome. Rod?
Yeah, Chip, a lot of back and forth yesterday morning, too, about whether Dee Dee Moore would actually testify or not.
Right, and it was kind of a surprise, you know, that she didn't take the stand. You know, I mean, this trial was filled with emotion. As Gail and I were discussing a little bit earlier, she broke down a number of times. And then, as you and I were talking earlier, then the verdict is read. You know, the jury finds you guilty of first-degree murder, and she didn't have any emotion.
Yeah, it's been very interesting, to say the least. All right,
Yeah.
Chip, thank you very much. Dee Dee Moore's attorney does plan to file an appeal to this verdict, and should do that within the next couple of weeks, we're told. By the way, again, Dee Dee Moore sentenced to life behind bars without parole.
A man with a history of mental problems is charged with murder after Dade City police say he stabbed a woman to death. The attack happened in front of an apartment on Coleman Avenue in Dade City yesterday. News Channel 8's Peter Bernard shows us if this case ends up going to court, police won't have to go far to find witnesses.
He stabbed her many times.
On this quiet street in Dade City, screams alerted neighbors. Lucius Smith, who lives in apartment 1 in this row of units, was chasing a woman around with a large knife in his hand. Victoria Farkas jumped up to see what was going on and saw a woman running for her life through her yard.
Then she came back. She broke all of our little things right there, but came that away. But he caught her right in the road right there and took her to the ground. They were both on the ground, and he was just stabbing her multiple times. But before they hit the ground, we did see him stab her in the back, and that whole knife went inside her back. So
Dade City police say the victim, 25-year-old Stephanie Ross, had stopped by Smith's home to give him papers for insurance related to his home health care. A neighbor rushed Ross to a hospital, but she died an hour and a half later. Police say he paid her back by killing her. In Dade City, Peter Bernard, News Channel 8.
One of the 4 men who died in the Benghazi consulate attack received a special recognition in Pinellas County. Sean Smith's father is a disabled Vietnam veteran who receives regular treatment at the Pinellas Medical Center. Congressman Bill Young has been helping Smith cope with his son's death. He arranged for an honor guard and a special plaque in Smith's honor.
All I know is that the compound was attacked. They had no weapons to protect themselves. They made calls for help. They couldn't get it.
Smith had been estranged from his son and his family, and he found out about his son's death while watching news coverage of the Benghazi attack. The Pentagon released the name of the highly decorated Navy SEAL killed rescuing an American hostage in Afghanistan. 28-year-old Petty Officer First Class Nicholas Check of Monroeville, Pennsylvania, died Sunday during a rescue mission that freed an American doctor.
The Air Force hopes to launch its unmanned mini shuttle later today. It will blast into space aboard an Atlas V rocket like this one. The mini shuttle will spend months in Earth's orbit. Right now, the launch hinges on the weather. Hundreds of pilgrims are expected to visit the peak of the French mountains on December 21st. That's because they believe it'll be the only place to escape the end of the world when the Mayan calendar ends. According to a 2010 online rumor, the mountain is the hiding place of an alien spaceship. Rod.
Oh, yeah. Toss it on over here for me to start. So after that, 6:42, an airline leaves some passengers stranded. That is until TV cameras show up. Things change then. Bieber fever not quite over in the Bay Area. Gail. We'll tell you about the hottest pop star's next visit here to Tampa. And the Largo Boys moves out with the Buccaneer cheerleaders make him a national sensation. We'll tell you about that. And then later this morning, we're finding out more about this little guy, this dressed up monkey in a coat. That's all you can say.
Traffic is not exactly out of this world right now, but we do have a crash here on East Lake. Also, a little bit of trouble on the Howard Franklin Bridge. It's all coming up with your True Speed traffic.
Dealing with a lot of fog this morning. Good morning to you. No dense fog advisories are in effect at this point, but we're seeing near zero visibility in Crystal River, a half a mile for Tampa, Plant City, Lakeland, and about a quarter of a mile, 3/4 of a mile for Clearwater, and a mile for Brooksville. Please take some extra time to get to work or school this morning. Cold front is funneling a lot of moisture and instability our way. Already an active day across South Florida. At this point, our radar is clear, but this afternoon, not expecting the same result. A 50% chance for scattered showers and storms today. High of 77 degrees, and some of those storms could be quite strong into the evening hours. I'll be back to detail your forecast. You're watching News Channel 8 Today.